Yes.
Because we're not going to remember all of our intelligent academic things as we're playing, very likely.
You mean we can't just pull that out of our heads?
Maybe you can. I don't
No.
know. We should
Okay.
have brought like a copy of our bibliography. Like,
As
wait,
Kvitkovich says.
Hi, I'm Finn,
And I'm Eileen.
and what you're about to watch is a critical play. That is, a combined Let's Play and video essay of the 2015 game Life is Strange.
We'll be taking a feminist approach to our criticism in order to prove what Anita Sarkeesian says in her Feminist Frequency videos, that you can be critical of a game while still enjoying it. We want to try to demystify what a feminist critique of games is and can be.
Throughout our critical play, we will focus on elements of characterization, feminist and queer narratives, game mechanics, and representation, in order to explore if and how Life is Strange can be considered a feminist game. And further, whose feminism it adheres to.
Our goal is to not only analyze the game's feminist aspects, but to also build a commentary that engages with the larger cultural context of gaming. Life is Strange and feminist critiques of video games do not exist in a vacuum, but are tied to much larger discussions of feminism in the gaming industry, including those related to the harassment campaign Gamergate. Many of these discussions of feminism in gaming are occurring outside of academia and do not reflect the research academics have been doing on these topics for years. By solidly placing one foot in the experience of gaming and gaming communities and the other in academic discourse, we hope to bridge these spaces in new and exciting ways that are more inclusive.
Additionally, in a culture where being dedicated to gaming means being apolitical and erasing any non-dominant identity, and in a culture where only 11% of the video game industry's workforce is composed of women, we feel that,
As a woman and mentally ill abuse survivor,
and as a queer, mentally ill, agender person, it is imperative that we make our voices heard and show, without a doubt, that politics and a dedication to gaming are not mutually exclusive whatsoever.
so anyway, let's play.
Critically.
I am okay.
From light to shadow, from color to chiaroscuro. Now, can you give me an example of a photographer who perfectly captured the human condition in
I
black and
didn't
white?
fall asleep, and that sure didn't feel like a dream.
Bueller?
Weird.
Diane Arbus.
There you go, Victoria. Why Arbus?
Because of her images of hopeless faces, you feel like totally haunted by the eyes of those sad mothers and children.
She saw humanity as tortured, right?
You click on this
And frankly, it's bullshit. Shh, 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 shh.
Look at this crap. How can I show this to Mr. Jefferson? I can hear the class laughing at me
It's
now.
very Instagram. I'm super into this.
Yeah. Also, do you notice how the opening scene, I just noticed this too, that the opening scene where you have them all in the class, all of the focus is on the interaction of the female students.
Yeah.
Like you have Max sitting there, and then you have Taylor, you'll find out, throwing a piece of paper at Kate.
Yeah.
My baby, Kate. And then Victoria answering the question.
Keep
in
that
her
to
phone.
yourself. Seriously, though, I could frame any one of you in a dark corner and capture you in a moment of desperation.
I can't believe I still have this
And
pencil
any one of you
case.
could do that
I
to
should
me.
upgrade to the 21st century.
Isn't
But
that too
I
much?
like it old school.
Too obvious? What if Arbus chose to
Selfie.
capture
Yeah.
people at the
In the
height
middle of class.
their beauty or innocence?
No, it's
She
great.
had a
it's great.
brilliant eye. So, shh, shh, shh. I believe Max has taken what you kids call a selfie. A dumb word for a wonderful photographic tradition. And Max
What's his name?
has a
Mr.
gift.
Anderson?
Mr. Jefferson.
Of course,
Jefferson
as you all
doesn't
know, the
think.
photo portrait has been popular since the early 1800s. Your generation was not the first to use images for selfie expression.
Yes, we know.
Sorry.
Know how Mr. Jefferson brings up Diane Arbus in this initial scene. Susan Sontag critiques Arbus in her book On Photography for her privileged and exploitative gaze. Arbus often took photos of subjects, which Sontag refers to as victims, and she questions whether Arbus was really empathizing with her subjects or just othering and fetishizing them. In Regarding the Pain of Others, Sontag writes, quote, "Photographs objectify. They turn an event or a person into something that can be possessed," end quote. There's a key difference between the work of Arbus and the work of Max that is made explicit within this initial scene. Arbus's view is always coming from the outside, whereas Max is self-conscious, maybe too self-conscious, as we'll see. Max takes selfies, and in doing so, is able to take that objectifying gaze into her own control. As you can hear from our Let's Play session, I disagree with the dismissal of selfies, and one of the main reasons is because of their power to take control of one's own image. There's been a lot of writing about this recently, such as Magdalena Olsenowski, who writes that women who take selfies are creating their bodies anew and therefore creating space. Another key figure who talks about selfies is Audrey Woolen, who writes, quote, "I perpetuate my own objectification every day, but I'm interested in the idea that objectification itself has a radical potential. We can use the products of oppression as tools to dismantle it. I wish I could be a person and not a walking photograph of a naked girl, but I wasn't given that choice. I was being treated as if I was only a photograph of a naked girl long before I started taking photographs of myself naked." End quote.
Of course. I'd love to tweak one of your selfies with some cool graphics.
Oh,
That
no.
might not suck. I'll let you
Sounds
know.
like it would suck.
So, did you get a chance to check out the movie booty on my flash drive?
I think it's really fascinating that Warren offers to rework Max's selfies. Perhaps this is just his way of reaching out to her, but it's also incredibly suggestive of Warren's character, as we'll see later, and how he doesn't understand the space he's taking up in Max's life, the power he is taking away from her. I bring these issues of photography and the gaze up early, as they'll prove really critical throughout our analysis.
And guys, don't forget the deadline to submit a photo in the Everyday Heroes contest. I'll fly out with the winner to San Francisco, where you'll be feted by the art world. It's great exposure, and it can kickstart a career in photography. So Stella and Alyssa, get it together. Taylor, don't hide. I'm still waiting for your entry too. And yes, Max, I see you pretending not to see me.
You know, like this is supposed to be like a beacon of hope sort
Yeah.
of thing.
You didn't tell me how cute I looked yet.
I was about to. You always
Welcome to the real world.
Just cute.
Yes,
Hot.
always a high
Then
school.
I might send you a special picture.
But I like that idea that his process is escape. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I recognize that. Like,
I need a serious timeout in the bathroom. Splash water on my face and make sure I don't look like a total loser.
I hate that class. It's so fucking boring.
Square Enix. Who allowed them to have a female protagonist?
She's so fucking shy.
The only ones. Did I mention that the music is so great? Also, the very first song that you hear in this game is called American Girls, I think? Or it might not be called that. But like that's the main repeated element of the chorus, which I think also kind of sets it up as something that is potentially geared towards
all of you,
Yeah. Can we just talk about how beautiful this is?
Yeah.
Oh my
Definitely
goodness.
talk about how beautiful this game is.
It is interesting to note that, from the get-go, the game is already focused on the female characters. Not a single male is mentioned as Jefferson chastises the class to submit their photos to the contest. Of course, it could be that the boys in the class have already submitted their photos, and the women are being reprimanded, but, nonetheless, the story's focus is immediately on them. In fact, from the moment you enter the game, you are in the woman's point of view. As Xenia Kondrat relates of the women in video games, quote, "They are represented as sexualized, and according to Laura Mulvey, are, quote, presented as objects of the male gaze. Most women appear to be hardly older than 30. In most cases wear skin-tight, figure-accenting clothing, and are slim." End quote. Life is Strange deals with this in interesting ways. First, while it adheres to some elements of traditional female characterization, whiteness, thinness, it strays heavily from others, such as the fact that these characters do not wear skin-tight clothing and are not being placed in the story as sexual objects. In fact, the game really plays with this idea of sexual objectification, as you discover later on. I also think that the way that female characters are introduced in these first few scenes or areas of play is really great. The story sets up these characters as archetypes. as you can see with this tongue-in-cheek introduction to Dana.
My floor too. She's such an archetypal, gorgeous cheerleader. They must make them in a factory. I shouldn't be so catty. Dana is nice to me.
Max, the hipster waif. Victoria, the bossy, win-at-all-costs bitch.
Knows their stuff.
Louis Daguerre was a French painter who created daguerreotypes, a process that gave portraits a sharp reflective style like a mirror. Now you're totally stuck in the retro zone. Sad face.
Kate, the religious ingenue, and Chloe as the rebel, the punk, and in some ways the manic pixie dream girl. But the more you play, the more these archetypes get subverted or complicated, and in a lot of ways, the game confronts you with your assumptions. You become invested in Max and bear witness to all of her uncoolness. You witness dark and understandably angry parts of Kate. You begin to see and understand Victoria's motives, and Chloe's backstory, personality, and goals make her so much more than any archetype. Even just the inclusion of a character like Alyssa, who you first meet as she sassily complains about needing to finish that romance novel that she's in a hate-love relationship with.
Alyssa.
What are you reading?
Love today or die forever.
It's such a small thing in the story, but it reverberates through a lot of the inner conflicts that you see the women in Life is Strange facing. Alyssa likes her romance novel, and on the one hand, feels as though she's expected to. On the other hand, though, she is also painfully aware of the judgment she is likely to receive and the delegitimizing of such forms of writing. The same way that the female-dominated realm of selfies gets delegitimized, while the male-dominated realm of portraiture is praised. I think the game does this with regards to all of the important characters, and I do talk about the men later as well. But it's especially important that it does this for the women, given the state of gaming and given the sorts of harmful stereotypes women are pushed into. As Condrat writes, it is important for game production companies to represent female gender in a respectful way, so that the target audience can learn about and perceive the female gender in a realistic, non-stereotyped way. And I think that this is something that Life is Strange is really aware of and plays with.
Just relax. Stop torturing yourself. You have a gift. Fuck it. When a door closes, a window opens. Or something like that. Okay, girl, you don't get a photo op like this every day.
You can go take a picture of the butterfly. Yay. Okay, this is where shit gets real. Okay.
It's cool, Nathan. Don't stress. You're okay, bro. Just count to 3. Don't be scared. You own this school. If I wanted, I could blow it up. You're the boss. So what do you want?
I hope you check the perimeter, as my step-ass would say. Now, let's talk business.
I got nothing for you.
Wrong. You got hella cash.
That's my family, not me.
Oh, boo-hoo, poor little rich kid. I know you've been pumping drugs and shit to kids around here. I bet your respectable family would help me out if I went to them. Man, I can see the headlines now.
Leave them out of this bitch.
I can tell everybody Nathan Prescott is a punk ass who begs like a little girl and talks to himself.
You don't know who the fuck I am or who you're messing around with.
Where'd you get that? What are you doing? Come on, put that thing down!
Don't ever tell me what to do. I'm so sick of people trying to control me!
You are going to get in hella more trouble for this than drugs.
Nobody would ever even miss your punk ass, would they?
Get that gun away from me, psycho! No!
I don't... So So that happened.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And
What the fuck? How can that be? I was in the bathroom. He shot that poor girl.
you're so like
I held up my hand.
and
then
I guess
I
it
was
was like a
like,
move.
what if that girl isn't dead yet? Can I save her?
Right.
Okay, Max, retrace every step.
Jeez, Max.
I washed my face. I shredded my photo. Then the butterfly flew in. And I took a photo.
Like literally. They could not have been any more obvious about butterfly
Them
effect.
out of this bitch.
I can tell everybody Nathan Prescott is a
effect
punk ass who
begins.
begs like a little girl and talks to himself.
You don't know who the fuck I am or who you're messing
Use the
around
broom.
with.
Where'd you get that? What are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Come on, put that thing
Ever
down!
Tell me what to do.
Wowzer, it's happening again.
People trying
I need a hammer to break it open.
You can
Hella more
rewind,
trouble
by the
for
way.
this than drugs.
Nobody would ever even miss your punk ass, would they?
Get that gun away from me, psycho!
Okay, you're gonna have to.
Holy shit, I
Rewind.
can't let this happen. If I can reverse time again, I can help her.
Right, that's fine. There you go. Okay, good.
Don't ever tell me what to do. I'm so sick
Did you
of
pick
people
up the hammer
trying
already?
to
Yeah, you have
control
the hammer
me.
Oh, I already
You're
have.
gonna get in hella more trouble for this than drugs.
There you go.
No way.
Don't ever touch me again, freak!
Yeah. Yeah, Nathan.
Another shitty day.
Oh, another shitty day. I didn't get to murder
Yeah.
Not happen.
Do you hear that fire alarm? That means you should be outside.
I had to use the bathroom.
Girls always use that excuse.
Excuse for what?
For whatever you're up to, your face is covered in guilt.
A lot of the first instances in which you encounter men in the game are wonderful. And by wonderful, I mean horrible, which makes it wonderful. Whether it's David Madsen alluding to the fact that girls always use the excuse of needing to use the bathroom, or the principal or person in place of authority not taking you seriously, these instances are important because they are realistic. Playing Max, you are forced to experience the world in a way that those who either are female or who are interpolated as such experience it. Alexander Higgins writes in their thesis Cuties Killing Video Games that cuties, that is, those who are critical of video games, want a greater diversity of voices in gaming, both among developers and players, and they also want games to capture a wider variety of human experiences, especially those of marginalized people. However, there are others in gaming culture opposed to such reform." End quote. I think that Life is Strange is answering that call in a multitude of ways, especially with these sorts of scenes and experiences. Further, I think that the potential for non-female players to experience these things brings with it a lot of room to learn and to embody, however briefly, that experience. After Max pulls the fire alarm and decides whether or not to tell on Nathan, she then goes outside, talks to her classmates, and finally heads back to her dorm.
Everything is happening too fast,
The seagull.
and none of it makes any sense. These visions, this power. I keep expecting to wake up one more time. But
It
if
is
this
interesting
is a
that it's
dream,
so
then
filmic,
I'm
like
not asleep.
kind of like brings in that like
Which
film
means
gaze,
somehow
you know,
That's
I
true.
think-
like beautiful
rewind
framing of
Yeah.
stuff.
So there
But then-
has to be a reason.
You can go back
And
to
I have
like
to
just
find out
your
why.
view as well,
Yeah.
because this is like weird, like voyeuristic, like someone like looking at her, kind of like
Yeah,
shot.
I was kind of noticing that too when she sits down, and I think that that's true in the other situations when you can like just sit. Like it'll constantly be changing perspectives while it's in her head.
Oh, I got.
Great. Wonder who wrote that.
Oh, look, it's Max Caulfield, the selfie hoe of Blackwood. What a lame gimmick. Even Mark, Mr.
Calls
Jefferson,
him
falls
Mark.
for your wave hipster bullshit. The Daguerrean process, sir.
But
You
she's a
could
total
barely even say
hipster.
that. I guess you got your meds filled.
She's got her hipster hipster shirt on.
Yeah. Yeah, Victoria, you look just as much like
Since you know all the answers, I guess you have to find another way into the dorm. We ain't moving. Oh, wait. Hold that pose. So original. Don't worry, Max. I'll put a vintage filter on it right before I post it all over social medias. Now, why don't you go fuck your selfie?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Victoria. I'll get your bony ass out of my way.
Go fuck your selfie. So she's like super dismissive, but it's also like,
That's the
feel like
first
maybe-
and last time I expect to hear that.
I don't know, maybe that's also her own way of trying to fit in.
Yeah, I think totally.
Patriarchal norms and stuff.
Yeah.
She can't like things like selfies.
Oh, there's something on the tree here.
Yeah. Rachel owes me money, she's a bitch. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to
I want to climb this.
get them away. Like, oh, sometimes.
Oh.
That's kind of important that happens.
Okay.
So something to notice is another thing about butterflies. Sometimes when you see butterflies, it's kind of there as like a hint.
Right, okay.
Like, oh, what do you have to do?
Well, it's like weird that the sprinkler was here. And
I could crank the sprinkler up and give Victoria and her clones incentive to beat it.
So yeah, sometimes when there are butterflies, it kind of
Right.
helps you know. And I like that they're butterflies too, because it makes sense. What?
Sweet. How do I crank it up though? Oh, look, it's a dick.
With hair.
Okay,
Maybe
now
not.
where exactly is the sprinkler
okay.
valve?
Oh.
Think, Max. Rewind and find something.
You have to rewind first. Because you have to turn it up, I think, before Samuel goes there.
Okay.
There's also other parts of it. Yeah. I don't know how long. This is so confusing to figure out, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not the best at this stuff. Okay. Water pump.
This main sprinkler valve looks easy enough to use. This
You
main
have to-
sprinkler valve looks easy enough to use.
Do I need a wrench or something?
You have to rewind more. Because
Oh.
it has to be before, I think. I think. Yeah, there you go. Use.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell? Are you kidding? Look at this! Chill, Victoria. It's just water. Yeah, water on my cashmere. Do you know how much this fucking outfit costs? You look great. I can't even chill on the steps.
It's a hard life.
Yeah. Remember what he said too. After I paint. But anyway. You can go try to talk to them again. Oh, fine.
I can't grab
I gave
that.
you too much of a
Samuel
hint.
is
Damn
way
it.
too close.
You have to rewind more. Before he gets up there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Whoop!
He's still too close. Don't go past that though, because that's
Okay.
where that's where they got wet.
Oh, okay.
You can also talk to them in the meantime though to try to still get past now that they're standing up.
Right.
I don't know. Ah, I gave stuff away. Damn it!
No, it's okay.
It's just I know that it was a struggle to get by this.
Do you understand English? Get lost.
You have to.
I
Yeah.
can't grab that.
Oh, I see.
Samuel is way
Okay.
too close.
Okay, is that where they get wet? The,
Yeah, they need to get wet, but
like, that thing symbolizes when they get wet, right? The,
I
little
think so,
dot?
unless that's her talking to you. You know,
Oh,
that's just
yeah.
her talking to
Okay.
you. Okay. Let's see how far back Samuel can get. Oh wait. Okay. Probably that is probably good. Okay, now go tamper. There you go. So sneaky.
Okay,
exactly did I
let's see if
do?
this works.
Also, yeah, so like this is part of why it's like maybe Samuel knows stuff. Like I look forward like a clock. After I sweep, I paint.
Right.
Like, what does he understand?
No way! No fucking
You okay,
way!
Victoria?
Oh, Samuel is sorry. Wet paint is not good for hair, nope. Sorry.
Get the hell away from me, weirdo!
Hold on. We'll get some towels. We'll be right back.
So move your ass before I drive.
It worked. Don't mess with Max, bitches.
So, okay. And now you can speak to her again.
Hey, Victoria.
What do you want, Max?
You can either make fun of her or comfort her. It's totally up to you. You can also rewind.
I know, that's why I'm trying to think what I want to do.
When they're the questions like this, when they're like big, that's when they like affect things.
Right.
Okay. But yeah.
I'm gonna do this first so that I can rewind and be a good person.
Don't.
Okay.
Don't say a word, Max.
Oh, wait. Hold that pose.
Oh wait, this is so awesome now.
And no filter needed before I post this. Now please
Should've
move.
said that.
I've had a messed
I
up
know.
day and I'm going to my room.
You do that? I know where you live. So does Nathan.
Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now I have to get to my room, then see Warren. Hey, I am sorry. That's an awesome cashmere coat.
It was. But there'll be another.
Well, you always seem to know how to pick the right outfits.
She does.
I do
great
have some
style, though.
talent. Mr. Jefferson told me.
I've seen your pictures. You have a great eye. Richard Avedon-esque.
He's one of my
Being
heroes.
compared to a man, too.
Thanks, Max. I hope those sluts get me a towel before they hang a sign on me. You deserve a better shot. Sorry about blocking you and the go fuck your selfie.
That was mean, but pretty funny.
Honestly, you don't have to tell me that it's funny.
One of those
Max.
days.
Yeah.
I know exactly
It's
what you mean,
hurtful,
Victoria.
like-
I'll see you later.
Au revoir.
As I mentioned previously, Life is Strange does a lot of great stuff with its female characters, such as in the scene you just watched where Max, after orchestrating this paint attack, is nice to Victoria, and we get to see some of Victoria's own insecurities, and we see her actually being nice back. And so the mean girl trope dismantling begins. At the same time, though, Life is Strange isn't perfect. To start, as well as they write these characters are still being written by men, and that's still sort of an issue. In a recent interview, Eurogamer asked the writers of Life is Strange about how they wrote the game, to which they responded with, "We didn't want to be the 30-year-old French guys making a game pretending to be teenage girls. We did a lot of research, obviously, but a lot more of that work was done by Christian Devine, as he is American. We didn't want to write in French and then have stuff lost in translation. So instead, Jean-Luc worked with Christian so the dialogue fitted well with his story." What I wondered here then was why it was so important that they have a real American write the script, but not a woman. They were so concerned with getting the American element right that hiring an American who knew that experience was imperative. And yet, hiring a woman was not. They are asked something along these lines during the interview, to which they respond, "It's just about trying to tell the truth. You don't have to be a woman to write good female characters." That, and we made sure we did research the topics we included. With bullying, for example, we visited forums where it was being discussed. And of course, bullying happens in France too. But we really wanted to make sure we were portraying it accurately for teenagers currently. This is a really interesting statement. In a lot of ways, I truly applaud the writers in Life is Strange. They did do a really excellent job writing these characters and dealing with issues that women face, for the most part, in an incredibly open and realistic way. As far as men writing women, I think their research really did pay off, no doubt about it. That said, there were still some issues that felt like they were maybe avoiding. For example, Dana's pregnancy and presumed miscarriage, in which she is incredibly open and unemotionally talking to Max.
Dana, I'm not trying to be nosy, but I heard a rumor about you.
What? Who told you I was pregnant?
Also, I love that.
Nobody
That's
important.
like
They
the
just
immediate
acted like it was
reaction.
bullshit.
Oops.
I just wanted you to know.
It's like a goddamn reality show around here. Can you keep a secret, Max?
You can put either.
I don't know why
Of course.
the other one would be a
I
response to that
Yeah.
question.
Was pregnant. Was.
Oh. What about the other?
Deadbeat dad? You can catch him on the 40-yard line this Friday. And it's not Zachary.
It's particularly interesting because instead of tackling abortion rights directly and discussing this incredibly integral feminist issue, the game gets the drama of teen pregnancy with none of the responsibility of political commentary by simply having Dana lose the baby. A fact that seems to be made clear through what seemed like her deciding to keep it via various items around her room, like the self-help book for teen parenting. This sort of sidestepping takes place again later, as we'll explore, with Kate's victimhood and her establishment as a good victim. I think that, had the Life is Strange team been as dedicated to finding someone with experience as a woman as they were with finding someone with experience as an American, maybe these issues would have been handled better instead of sidestepped. Also, with such a small amount of women working in the video game industry, it's hard to truly call a game so focused on women and their experiences, yet containing no women writers, feminist. There's something almost exploitative, maybe. And yet, they do a really great job with these characters. So, what then?
Conscious of the pills. Look.
That's it?
That's all she's got.
Well, maybe if we take Jack Halberson's recommendation that we, quote, think about sex and gender in a more ecological kind of framework, understanding that changes in one environment inevitably impact changes in other environments, end quote, then we can gather that this will have a ripple effect that leads to more games with well-written women, and thus more women wanting to write games, and more developers wanting these writers. Or maybe I'm just being overly optimistic. After Max gets Warren's flash drive, she then heads to meet him in the parking lot. But first, she runs into Kate.
So don't think I'm blind. I see everything here at Blackwell. Do you
You see
understand what I'm
everything.
saying?
It's the
No,
all-seeing
and leave me
eye.
alone.
Have you noticed that there's the all-seeing eye around? The Eye of Providence?
No.
Yeah. Like all over.
What? Okay.
It's super important. Like, it was in the bathroom.
Hey, why don't you leave
Oh,
her
yeah.
alone?
Yeah.
Remember that.
Excuse us. This is official campus business.
Yeah, you harassing
Excuse
a
me,
student
you
is
shouldn't
official.
be yelling at students or bullying them.
Hey, nobody is bullying anybody. I'm doing my job.
No, you're not.
You're part of the problem, Missy. I will remember this conversation.
Oh, Max, that was great. I think you scared him for once. I have to go, but thank you. It means a lot.
Anytime, Kate.
This example from our Let's Play shows us standing up for Kate, which makes Max feel like an everyday hero. Throughout the game, Max does her best to try and save people, and this is something that she struggles with throughout. She feels very responsible for other people's happiness, and this is maybe something we should look closer at, and that we will. To what extent are the game designers suggesting it is Max's responsibility to help others, and mostly other women? Although you have the choice not to help characters often, why are so many of the female characters unable to get themselves out of a situation? Such as when Max helps Dana get out of her room in this scene here.
You set me free. Thank you.
Why do these doors lock from the outside is my question. As Anita Sarkeesian describes in the Feminist Frequency series about damsels in distress, men can gain back their own freedom, whereas women can't. Although, of course, we also see Max constantly rescuing herself throughout the game. One of my favorite characters in the game is Alyssa because she is just so sassy and badass. Besides a few conversations, however, one of the only interactions the player can have with Alyssa is by saving her from being hit with various flying objects, such as a football, a foam noodle, or toilet paper. In Feminist Frequency, Sarkeesian says that, quote, "In the game of patriarchy, women are not the opposing character, they're the ball," end quote. And I have to question how much Alyssa is just used as a ball in this game. How much is her continuously being hit with objects used as an excuse for more rewind-based gameplay?
Okay, Max, this is the third time you've saved me from harm's way.
It's important to remember that, as Sarkeesian says, damsels can be both likable and well-written, as Alyssa is in my opinion. And sometimes they do step up, like when Alyssa saves us at the end, but usually it's only after the action is mostly over. The thing that creeps me out the most about the damsel trope is that it implies women are desirable because of their vulnerability. The game does a lot to resist this trope, as we'll see later, and for that I give it credit. Max is a badass character who is able to save herself from a lot of terrible situations, so props to Square Enix for being the only studio who didn't try to change her into a dude.
Check these out anytime. The Decisive Moment by Henry Cartier-Bresson, that's rare. Annie Leibovitz, mad respect. The amazing Eugene Smith, good to see Abaddon among the masters. Dahlia, of course.
The fact that the creators were able to keep Max a girl is actually so important, too. According to Merleau-Ponty, being, that is, human subjectivity, is embodied. Our perception of ourselves is embodied, and there is no view from nowhere. Being in the world means being unable to reduce the world to any solipsistic interiority. Grosch says that, quote, "anything that comes into contact with the surface of the body and remains there long enough will be incorporated into the body image," end quote. From this we can gather that, so long as the game does not present any barriers to it, one becomes immersed in the characters they are playing via the controller. When you become immersed in Life is Strange, then, you embody Max and view the game world from her subjective perspective. She becomes an extension of your person. You can see this viscerally in our playthrough as Eileen paces Max's avatar when trying to make a decision. While I'm generally a big fan of character creation in games, I think that locking you into Max was a really smart move here. The truth is that character creation, even if it gives the player the option to play a woman, is flawed. As Sarkeesian talks about in her Miss Man installment of her Tropes vs. Women in Video Games series, this option is usually somewhat hidden, not featured in marketing, and always considered the alternative version. For example, in Mass Effect, if you talk about Shepard, people will differentiate between John and Jane by calling Jane FemShep. For the record, there are a growing number of folks who do reverse this and instead call Jane Shepard Shepard and call John Shepard Bro Shep, of which I am one. But that doesn't do all that much. As such, while I do feel that having the option to choose a gender, even if it's only binary genders, can be great, and would be even better if the marketing and hype around characters improved, having games where you're locked into a female character is also just really rad, especially considering the imbalance of games where you are automatically locked into a male character. Having a woman hero disrupts the usual narrative and power dynamic already, but to do this without sexualizing Max for the male gaze.
That's
Must protect my precious so Max never has to chase it down again.
what? That was like such a bad golem, Max.
And to do it in a game where the characters' experiences and dialogue are so integral does even more. As Higgins writes, quote, "The mere action of playing the role of somebody else, especially someone of a different gender, can cause people to reevaluate their own identities and understand the identities of others in unexpected ways," end quote. I feel that when you step into and embody Max, feeling these experiences as she would, any player can begin to sympathize and recognize what it is like to feel the way that Max does. And Max has a lot of feelings. That's also, again, why I feel it's so important that the game is filled with women's issues, assault, gendered threats, bros being bros, pregnancy, etc., because it makes the player feel those things, maybe for the first time. In the next section, you see Max meeting up with Warren to return his flash drive. Drama ensues.
I mean, I literally think I'm going crazy.
I may be a pest, but I'm a good listener.
For reals, Warren. This is between you and me, not social media.
Don't insult me. Max, go on.
I had this incredibly bizarro experience in Mr. Jefferson's class today. I mean, life-changing. Have you ever had a dream so real it was like a movie?
Sorry?
Max Caulfield, right?
Maybe. Oh.
You're one of the Jefferson's photo groupies?
I'm one of his students.
What the fuck ever? I know you like to take pictures, especially when you're hiding out in the bathrooms. You best tell me what you told the principal, now.
You can tell him what you told him, or you can deny it. I mean, considering it's a gun.
Yeah.
But, like, also, you do you.
What are you talking about?
You.
I know you're new here, but don't even play stupid with me.
I'm not new. I've lived here for years.
Then you should know the Prescotts own this shithole.
Then you don't have to worry about me. Worry about yourself.
Do not analyze me! I pay people for that. Worry about yourself.
I also love, like, that's his way of, like, telling me, like, I have psychologists, okay? I pay people to do that. Like, also, like, you know what I just realized? Like, her saying, like, oh, I've lived here for years, like, and then him being like, oh, then you should know. Like, why doesn't she know any of these people from earlier?
I thought she just moved here, though.
But she used to live here when she was younger, and she moved to Seattle, and then she just moved back.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
so,
weird.
like...
Take a step back, Nathan Prescott.
Oh man, you're telling me what to do?
Get away from her, dude!
Aw, Warren.
Hey, leave him
You
alone.
got headbutted.
Nobody tells me what to do.
I also
Not
like
my
when he
parents, not
headbutted
the
him.
principal, or that whore in the bathroom.
Sorry, I'm excited.
Max? Chloe?
No way. You again.
Go! Go! I got this!
Chloe?
Get in, Max!
Yeah. Just
leave
Warren
Warren
there.
there.
Just
Gas
leave
this
Warren.
out of there now! Don't even try to run. Nobody. That's me. Nobody.
Okay, so I'd like to take a minute here before we progress in the story to talk about Warren. I think that Warren is maybe one of the most important characters in this game, but likely not for the reasons you think. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike Warren. Mostly, I just think he's really misguided and can't take a hint. Also, Warren, like all the other characters, is only 18, so is my optimistic hope that he's, still learning. That said, Warren is a creep. Your first introduction to him is him repeatedly texting you and blowing up your phone as soon as you're out of class, followed by him invading your personal space to comfort you in the parking lot, followed by him implying that you owe him for getting into a physical altercation with Nathan, followed by him incessantly asking you to the drive-in no matter how many times you say no. Warren is a great character in that he's just relatable enough that you feel a pang of sympathy. We've all been there with an obsessive high school crush, haven't we? But he's also creepy in every insidious way that raises all the red flags when you navigate the world as a woman or feminine human. To have him there, and to have Max need to sort of gently avoid hurting his feelings all the time, when she's in the middle of trying to save Chloe and all of Arcadia Bay, is brilliant, in my opinion, because it really speaks to the way women feel responsible for these types of guys and will constantly put their feelings first. For example, you can see here when Warren invites Max to the drive-in.
Speaking of dystopia, that drive-in is having a 70s Planet of the Apes marathon. Let's go ape!
I mean, that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
Does this decision have any consequences?
Well, it depends on, do you want to date Warren or do you want to date Chloe?
Okay, but look, I
and you
don't
can
want to
still
date him, but I still want to go to Planet of the Apes with him.
That's fine, but he's also super obsessed with you, so you're kind of leading him on. So
Hey
it's like,
there.
Which is not necessarily your responsibility if you just want to go see the movie, but...
Eileen wanted to agree because, hey, Planet of the Apes, but I immediately warned her not to, so as to not lead him on. In retrospect, that's ridiculous. Women and the rest of us should not be responsible for men's feelings and should not have to avoid doing things we might enjoy in order to not give anyone the wrong impression. And yet it is such a real situation, since wrong impressions can so often lead to a sense of entitlement followed by assault. I think that having a character like Warren in this story really mirrors the sort of passive or misguided male entitlement that folks deal with on a daily basis, and it gives male players a template for how those sorts of behaviors can actually make someone feel. As Higgins relates, quote, "The stories we tell ourselves can contain messages about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, and what sort of social behavior is acceptable or normal under certain circumstances." Life is Strange, I believe, uses Warren to incite an examination of these behaviors within the player. Alright, so after you drive off with Chloe, you end up back at her place and you look for tools to fix your camera and just generally kind of snoop around her room.
Now we know where the picture comes from.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, give me that. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be nosy. Obviously, she was a good friend.
A good friend. Gals being pals. Gals being pals.
That's Rachel Amber. Her missing person posters are all over Blackwell.
Yeah, I put them up. She was my angel. After my dad died and you moved, I felt abandoned. Rachel saved my life.
Man, I had no idea.
Well, you never made much effort to find out. I was 14. We were best friends.
Aw, it's a terrible thing to say.
I never forgot, even if I was an asshole and didn't keep in touch. But you had Rachel.
Rachel had my back. We were gonna kick the world's ass. You would laugh at how different we were. She wanted to be a star.
She looks like a model.
That was her plan. Our plan. Get the hell out of Bigfootville and into Los Angeles.
Bigfootville.
So what happened? Did your folks, your mom, try to stop you?
My mom was too busy hooked up with Sergeant Shithead.
I feel the love.
Goes with whatever
Now,
David
when did
Dickhead or
Rachel
whatever.
actually disappeared?
6 months ago. She just left Arcadia. Without a word. Without me.
Either's fine.
How do you know she disappeared? Maybe she wanted to start a totally new life.
Unlike you, she would have told me, okay? Something happened to her.
I believe you. I'm just trying to get all deductive.
Before Rachel left, she said she met somebody who changed her life. Then poof.
Uh-oh.
And you haven't heard anything from her since?
Like everybody in my life. My dad, you, and Rachel. Gone. Can you put on some music now?
Oh yeah, you found a CD already, didn't you?
I guess so, yeah.
All the music is really, really good at like...
Yeah, it's super like indie films set in the mood,
Anyway,
sort of.
you can
Yeah,
find
they
tools
also
to fix
always
your camera
fit
in the garage.
What's going on?
Chloe.
Like,
Mm.
Rachel
okay?
just disappeared and it sounded
Sure,
like
I'm
a
awesome.
dream.
I just want to blaze and be alone for a moment.
Yeah, they were supposed to like run away together to Hollywood, and then she disappeared. And it's like,
Can you let me
this
chillax
song.
for a bit? Alone?
In the aforementioned interview with Eurogamer, the lead writer of Life is Strange stated, in a discussion of the characters, quote, "We created Max and Chloe and their relationship, which for me is the central part of Life is Strange," end quote. And it is, isn't it? That intimate relationship is the driving force of the game. and yet it also allows for an exploration of so many other concepts so that it never becomes just a romance. Shira Chess seems to doubt the success of pairing romance with games. She generally feels that these two forms of media just can't get one another right. To begin, she describes the, quote, 8 formulaic elements that always occur in the romance novel genre. 1. A definition of the society where the romance occurs. 2. A meeting between the romance partners. 3. A barrier against their romance. 4. An established attraction. 5. A declaration of love. 6. A ritual death of the romance, implying that the barrier is not movable. 7. A recognition of how the barrier might be overcome. And 8. A betrothal. I believe that you do get all of these elements in Life is Strange. The first few scenes set up the society. You have an intense meeting between the romantic partners. You have a barrier against their romance, what with everyone and their dog wanting Chloe dead. An established attraction, which I read through the pool scene and the later kiss, should you choose it. And then the rest of the elements, which take place in quick succession at the very end of the game. So, for me, Life is Strange passes this test for romance. Another issue that Chess addresses is that in games that do seem to follow a romantic plot, quote, the player may find it difficult to become psychologically attached to the avatar or heroine, whose story often happens in spite of gameplay, not because of it, end quote. She describes earlier in that essay that in order for a game to function like a romance, that you would need necessarily a certain amount of stable identity and interiority from the character, and that the plot would need to follow certain movements. I think this is brilliant, though, because in Life is Strange, you do follow a character with a stable interiority, but because the game relies on you making so many choices, it does happen because of your choices and not in spite of them. Therefore, you are psychologically attached to the heroine and the romance of the plot. Chess further points out, following her logic in the previous statement, that given that identity is, quote, such a pivotal response to patriarchy in the romance novel, the lack of identity, as well as the lack of agency that she sees in potential romance video games, is a firm reminder of an inability for the romance game to provide a meaningful response to the patriarchal hegemony within the video game industry, end quote. But if Life is Strange is already able to break both the lack of identity and lack of agency that Chess describes, I think that it is positioned pretty well to respond to this patriarchal hegemony. Even more so, perhaps, as this romance is a queer one. But why does it even matter whether or not Life is Strange is a successful romance? Well, generally speaking, the romance genre has been solidly relegated to the female realm. In fact, as Geek Remix discusses in their most recent podcast on pink games and game design, the inclusion of narrative and romantic game elements are entirely based within pink games, that is, games marketed primarily towards women. So to include and integrate the romance genre so successfully into a video game is a huge step. Further, by having a romance that is integral to the story and yet does not dominate it, also shows an understanding that romance is most certainly not all that pink games can be, but is an important facet. As Condrat writes, quote, games designed for women often employ stereotypes of feminine preference, representing idealized kinds of femininity, rather than engaging with the realities that women have a multitude of preferences and interests. By neither ignoring nor myopically focusing on romance, Life is Strange encompasses and respects these realities.
Are these your new photos?
Okay.
Yeah, I just took them today. Let me see. Wait, I've seen this before. No way. When did you take this? You took this photo, you brat? In the bathroom today. You set off the alarm. That's why Nathan raged after you. It totally makes sense. You hella saved my life. Now tell me the truth, Max.
What do you want to tell her?
I'm telling her the truth.
Yeah, good.
I don't even want to know what the other option
In
is.
the corner.
Damn, you're a ninja.
Okay, also people need to stop calling her a ninja.
Yeah.
I just took a butterfly frog.
That is so badass.
Oh yeah, I almost wet myself when I saw the gun.
So, did you recognize me?
I don't know.
I wasn't sure.
I know I look a lot different.
I was scared too. I couldn't see straight.
You couldn't. Sorry.
One
Oh
of these guns is
no.
missing.
That guy totally
I
stole
hope
his
Chloe's
gun.
stepdad isn't packed in heat.
No.
No.
Yeah, Nathan came over to Chloe's house and stole the gun.
Hey now.
Maybe. You're right. You don't know everyone yet. This is true. This is true.
Ooh, precision screwdrivers. Except I can't reach them.
Solve that problem.
Not
That
quite.
was very smart, dumbass. No can reach.
I love how she's saying it to herself, but it's like she's saying it to us.
Yeah. Why can I not reach it? It's just like get on your hands and knees.
Man, I should have done that before they fell.
Yeah. At least
Fine.
it gives you good hints
Yeah.
to tell you like what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. There we go.
It's like turning on their washing machine for no reason.
Yes, you have mad skills, Max.
So good.
Thanks, Max. We as you totally do.
Secret TV. Oh.
What the? Chloe's stepdad actually installed cameras in the rooms?
Total
For real?
panopticon.
This guy has serious trust issues. Do Chloe and Joyce even know about this?
Yeah, watching, gazing, etc.
Yeah,
etc.
totally.
All of that.
What a creep. Except now she's gonna be on camera doing this.
I feel. Does he have it in the garage or not?
I thought
I mean, you can close
not,
it and
yeah.
then rewind it though.
it's true. But
If
then
you
it-
feel
but
like you're winding
I like
it.
the consequences.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, files.
You're not afraid of any consequences.
Oh my gosh, stop dropping
Butterfingers.
Okay, I'll look at them.
Look
and
at
then come
them
back.
and yeah.
Kate Marsh? Why the hell would he have pictures of her?
something.
Oh,
Okay,
creepy.
this is getting totally weird.
Ugh, creepy.
Yeah. Also, that means that he was in the girls' dorm, by the way, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you're gonna want to rewind them now. Oh, my back is so sore. Jesus.
Aw. Oops.
David Madsen is framed as one of the first characters who abuses his power of looking and surveillance. He wants to install cameras around the school in order to better protect the students and prevent other students, like Rachel Amber, from going missing. But his active looking is also creepy and invasive a lot of the time, particularly in how he watches Kate. His looking also often misinterprets what's going on and causes more problems than good. Life is Strange gives us the ability to choose an option and then rewind and change our mind. It gives us the ability to pick whichever choice suits us best. It also allows us to go through people's emails, see what's going on in their lives, and then use that information to become friends with them. This active looking is incredibly problematic, and we can forgive it by saying, yeah, but Max is trying to do the right thing, but that doesn't excuse her actions. It also doesn't excuse our actions. We're a player of the game, and the ways we choose to witness are important. The decisions we make say something about us as players and as people. I'm reminded of the term scopophilia here, which Laura Mulvey uses in her essay, Visual Pleasure in Narrative Cinema. Scopophilia describes the pleasure of looking and the fascination with human form. As a player, I am guilty of this too. I want to snoop through everyone's stuff, because I love snooping through everyone's stuff, and I didn't have to face any consequences for my actions. The game also gives us the address for where Kate's video is online, so you can look it up if you want. When you get to the website, there's an image of a defunct YouTube link saying the video is taken down, which I think is the creator's wonderful fuck you to anyone who tries to see it. The game gives us a lot of examples of negative acts of looking and the gaze. We'll see even more later, but it also provides some nice alternatives, like Daniel, who asks for our consent in order to draw us.
Do you mind letting me sketch you? I do put my sketches on Facebook, though.
But I also do, I like that he asks and he's like super aware, like where, like he
I'd be honored,
tells you like
Daniel.
where they're gonna be.
Makes me feel like a muse.
Yeah.
A bit earlier in the game, when Mrs. Grant is asking us whether we want to sign a petition against Madsen's surveillance plan, Finn and I had this interesting conversation about surveillance.
You can see what happens when you don't sign it if you want.
I don't know if I want to.
If you don't sign it, basically she just warns you, being like, oh, well,
Right.
you know you'll be responsible with blah, blah, blah. So yeah, but like the idea of like security cameras being around is also really interesting, and also starts to bring in that idea of like being watched.
Yeah. Interesting, like, witness sort of like. And then, like, goes back to being believed, right? Like, when we told the principal,
Yeah.
where that's like kind of we're like sort of assumed to be the person in the wrong, and that kind of goes with that
Yeah.
whole like gun culture, also like surveillance, sort of like panopticon.
Absolutely. At the same time, though, you know, who has control of
Whoa,
the
she's
camera?
like Kill Bill.
Oh my god. Actually, a lot of like the random characters you don't really know end up looking like her, I feel.
That's funny.
She just has tiny feet. Look at how tiny her feet are. Just tiny feet. Anyway, yeah, but like I feel like it also has to do with like who's doing the looking.
Yeah.
Like, is David Madsen who's going to put in security cameras? Who is that necessarily going to benefit? You
Mhm.
know?
And there was that like line that was like, oh, it could have helped Rachel, but like really, would it have helped Rachel? You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what happened to Rachel,
Yeah.
so.
In this next scene, we see Max hiding and watching an interaction between Chloe and David Madsen. And we also see some pretty questionable behavior on his part.
One of my guns is missing. Did you take it?
God, I didn't take your stupid gun. You do know I believe in gun control?
Wait, is that grass? You been token up again in here?
Oh yeah, guns, weed. You're tripping balls.
I'm sick of your disrespect. Tell me the truth. That's an order.
Because
Who is
that's
it?
how you should talk to people. So you can step in and say that it's your weed, or you can stay hidden and let Chloe deal with it. You can also see what happens in either
That's true.
situation.
That was my joint.
Well. I don't like strangers in my home, especially dopers. So you're
Dopers.
bringing drugs into my home. How about if I call the police? That'd screw up your spotless Blackwell record.
It's not really spotless. She just
Yeah.
problem.
I'm sick of you
She's
losers
in
dragging
trouble
Chloe
from,
down.
like,
Missy, you sure do like to pop up and start trouble. Like this afternoon.
You mean when you were harassing Kate?
You don't have anything smart to say now, do
Get
you?
the hell away from
Huh?
her, man. Stop harassing my friends.
You don't have any friends.
Like you know. You're not even a real cop. You're a fucking security guard.
I was a soldier, Chloe. And Max, if I see you
Never
here
you
again,
can
you'll learn
talk
all
shit
about real trouble.
to teenage girls. She's so
Because
badass,
you're such a
Chloe.
badass, Max. Let me show you my new toy.
What? I actually didn't play this version because I didn't realize
And Price.
that
Chloe
you
Price.
could.
Bang! Jesus, put that thing down. Chillax, sister. It's not even loaded. Yet.
I thought you believed in gun
Chloe.
control.
Yes, I believe I should control the gun. It's the men who need to be checked.
Oh.
You trust Nathan or David?
Oh.
Thanks
Oh my
for taking
god.
the heat. We totally
The men-
smacked his
that's
punk ass
kinda
down, Max.
true.
He's no match for you and me now. That was an epic win. Anyway,
Also,
let's sneak
is
out
her
the window.
necklace
There is one cool
bullets?
place
Yeah.
we can hang in this big hole.
Yeah. symbolism.
I'm actually happy with that
Eileen.
decision.
Man, that did not go well for me.
No, but I think that you should
I want to keep my
rewind
Blackwell
so we can see
scholarship.
the
I
other one.
shouldn't
'cause-
lie
Okay.
to anybody, even Chloe.
Commentary.
I have to think about my own future.
Knowing what happens in the other version. I think that it's probably important to play through both versions of things, actually, maybe. In general. Oh, shoot. You have to do that again.
3 seconds
Oops.
to open the door. 1. Who's it?
It does sound like Paige is flipping. Like
Yeah,
a
I really
It's
like that.
Really
Stop
cool.
treating
Or
me
like
and my
butterfly
mom like we're your
wings.
family platoon.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
leave Joyce out of this.
Absolutely.
I wish you'd leave Joyce, like now.
Backhand. Dickwad.
I'm sorry. I care about your mother, and you just keep pushing me.
Oh, you keep pushing me. That's right.
Yeah.
Again, asshole. That's the last time. Or I'll bring the cops in here so fast.
You're not that dumb.
Smart to
Oh,
have you busted.
creep.
Yeah.
Chloe, someday you'll grow up.
You should be apologizing to Helen back for that.
Hey, you okay?
We should probably.
Yeah,
include it.
definitely.
Again.
Keep doing this.
3 seconds to open the door. 1.
Love fast forwarding.
Okay. Either.
Why steal a gun from your stepdad? You know you're gonna get busted.
Or somebody like Nathan will bust me with a cap. Screw that.
This is
I need to
true.
cover my own back.
Your stepdad won't let you off the hook that easy.
What the hell does he need another gun for? To mow down Bigfoot cheerleaders?
This is all just so scary.
I know, Max. But I do feel safer having a 9mm in my pants.
Oh my gosh.
That is. Yeah.
Can you actually use it?
It's kind
After
of
about
amazing.
100 online
Sorry?
videos?
It's kind of
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
keep it in your pants, okay?
Max, I'm
Don't
not
keep it in
looking
your
for
pants.
True, it's a
Thanks.
really bad idea.
If anybody in this country should have guns, it should be women.
This is really
Yeah.
interesting commentary.
Yeah.
I
I mean, it kind of ties into the whole Anita Sarkeesian thing, though, of like, should like doing the opposite be the way to go? But then at the same time, like, I don't know.
like you understand her anger
Yeah.
completely and her
Considering that the
feeling
game
unsafe.
starts with her being murdered.
Yeah, totally.
The male gaze is a concept coined by Laura Mulvey, who I mentioned just a minute ago, which, to simplify, represents the way the visual arts have been structured around the masculine viewer. It can refer to the person behind the camera, the characters within the film, or the spectator, or even all of the above. In Life is Strange, we see the creators both falling into the male gaze trope as well as subverting it. The creators have some great moments of calling out the male gaze, as in the case of men literally writing over and scratching out Max's attempts of seeing or looking, as well as by making fun of it, such as with this dude in the art gallery.
Ugh. Wait, can we actually see what he says? I feel like he says something about gay
Well,
people.
I have to say, this is the
Yeah.
best everyday hero show I've seen since it began. All the pictures say a lot about our times. Bravo.
They just give him like the biggest douchebag.
I guess everybody is a photographer now.
Do you ever talk with David Madsen?
He talks to me.
Right now, I'm saying,
listen.
seriously,
That's how David
Samuel is not
operates.
the Barnder's
He sees things.
Yeah, I
Not
would never
people.
like thought that.
But
I would be really sad.
I think
if
he
that was
sees
true.
you, Max.
Samuel, the janitor, also sees us, but it's not as creepy. He doesn't have as much power with his gaze, and he actually seems to have our best interests at heart.
I see what you're doing.
After jumping out of Chloe's window, Max and Chloe head on over to the lighthouse, which is where this episode of the game actually ends.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Oh man, I'm so happy I'm playing this game.
Like, we stopped talking just because it's so nice to look at.
Yeah,
It's so pretty.
it's fine. Our voices don't need to be disrupting this beauty.
Yes.
Ooh, Bambi.
Bambi. Oh. Themes of this game.
So, what about you and Nathan?
We went to his room at Blackwell. We drank, and I laughed at his rich kid bullshit. He was one step ahead and put something in my ear.
I can't believe this. I mean, I do. Then what?
I know I passed out on the floor. I woke up and that perp was smiling, crawling towards me with a camera.
With a camera, notably.
Everything was a blur. I tried to kick him in the balls and broke a lamp. Nathan freaked, so I managed to bum rush the door and get the hell out. Max, it was insane.
I want to see both of these things.
Yeah.
I am so furious, I can't even speak. What did you do then?
I figured I would make him pay me to keep quiet. So we met in the bathroom.
And he brought a gun.
That was Nathan's last mistake.
And would have shot her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can't say that.
It's still dangerous, Chloe. Not just to you.
Yeah.
Oh, good
we know
thing you
that that's
notified the
kind of
principal.
useless.
I feel safer already.
Sorry.
I will always be here
Yeah.
to save you.
You were here today, Max. You saved me. I'm still tripping on that. Seeing you after all these years feels like destiny.
Destiny. Okay. Meow.
Yeah.
If this is destiny, I hope we can find Rachel. I miss her, Max.
Baby.
Her angel.
Yeah.
The
She
shit
does
is
like
taking
have.
away
She
everyone
totally
I've ever
has
loved.
a Laura Croft thing
To
going.
drop a
We have
bomb on
so
our
much
kitty
we
thing
can
and turn
say,
it to fucking glass.
but like,
Yeah.
notice the way that they film it differently. You know. Oh my God, what's
Okay.
happening?
Yeah. You're gonna need to.
Not again! Why is this happening to me?
Why indeed, Max? Why indeed?
Why am I here again?
Oh, creepy ghost deer.
Ghost deer.
What?
Yeah. This is part of what I'm talking about with the spirit animal, though. Like, you also notice her shirt has like it says Jane and then there's a doe.
Right.
Which is like, you know,
Chloe still up
Jane
there?
doe.
Oh my gosh, it's her
I have to
Patronus.
find out.
It's her Patronus.
Oh my God.
Chloe, you're here. I'm back. Oh my lord, this is real. It's real. Oh man, this sucks.
Max, what's going on? You totally blacked out.
I didn't black out. I had another vision. The town is going to get wiped out by a tornado.
Oregon gets about 5 tornadoes every 20 years. We're just zoned.
No, I saw it. I could actually feel the electricity in the air.
Come on, take a breath, okay?
Chloe, I'm not crazy. There's something else I have to tell you.
Something hardcore.
Hardcore.
Oh my.
Talk to me, Max.
I had this same vision earlier in class. When I came out of it, I discovered I could reverse time. Like I said, not crazy.
But high, right? Listen to me. How do you think I saved you? in the
Logical
bathroom?
reaction.
By reversing time? Yeah, sure.
I saw you get shot, Chloe. Saw you actually die. I was able to go back and hit the fire alarm.
Okay, I see you're a geek now with a great imagination, but this isn't anime or a video game.
I don't know what it is, but I have it. And I'm scared shitless.
You need to get high. It's been a hell insane fucking day.
And now it's snowing.
What the hell?
What the hell is this?
Snowflake?
It's like
Realistic
80
reaction.
degrees.
Yeah.
How?
Climate change.
Climate
A
change.
storm is coming.
Max,
A storm is coming.
start from the beginning. Tell me everything.
You know what I like? I like how by the end of this game you can tell who chose what answer by the reaction to this song playing. Because yeah. Oh yeah. So
Sorry.
folders with names and Rachel's
Binders full of
name.
women.